Yes, hot off the presses this morning. This new poll from KXA News and Emerson College polling shows Austin area State Representative James Talarico is leading Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. The poll of more than 400 likely Democratic primary voters shows Talarico with 47% support, 9 points ahead of Crockett. Now, this poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 4.8%. And we caught up with both candidates earlier to see how they're feeling about the race.
I firmly believe that all 30 million Texans deserve a U.S. Senator who's going to fight for their interests, not the interests of billionaire mega donors.
When I touch grass and when I see people, I feel it, and it comports with what we were seeing and kind of our way of trying to test to see if my candidacy would get some of those people that normally don't participate to get involved.
I don't think anyone in the world will want to be Jasmine Crockett right now. I mean, I've been evicted from my home studio by family members who have come to live with me. And I wouldn't want to be Jasmine Crockett. This woman just received news that a devastating new poll shows she is losing to her Democrat opponent, James Talarico, in her bid for the Senate seat of Texas by a whopping 10 percentage points, 47 to 37. This is a 17-point swing from December, where Jasmine Crockett was beating Talarico by 8 percentage points. It is believed that an uptick of support from the white community and the Latino community is responsible for the surge of James Talarico in the polling to where he is now convincingly ahead of Jasmine Crockett.
Now, some people get a little funny when you start talking about race, but this is real. There was a Trump-appointed justice. I testified because I had already sued the state of Texas because Texas is racist.
Yeah.
Is because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. We not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to.
Let me ask you about a quote that you've made that has some Democrats worried about your ability to win statewide. In a December 2024 Vanity Fair profile, you talked about, quote, and I'm going to read a lot of the quote just to put it in the context, quote, all the complexities within the Latino community. The immigration thing has always been something that has perplexed me about this community. It's basically like, I fought to get here, but I left y'all where I left y'all, and I want no more y'all to come here. If I wanted to be with y'all, I would stay with y'all, but I don't want y'all coming to my new home. It almost reminds me of what people would talk about when they would talk about kind of like slave mentality and the hate that some slaves would have for themselves. It's almost like a slave mentality that they have. Now, about the time that was published last year, around 1 million Latino voters in Texas were voting for Trump. Do they all have slave mentality?
No, and that's not what that said at all, to be clear. It did not say that every Latino has that type of mentality.
No, but the ones that vote for people who believe in strong or Trump's immigration policies.
So I don't believe that the people that voted for Trump believe in what they're actually getting.
Meanwhile.
Hi, James. Hey. So I will not be voting for Jasmine Crockett. I've heard her call Latinos slaves before, and as a Mexican here in Texas, why should I vote for you?
What does this mean? This means that the liberal black female element of Texas is not enough to put Jasmine Crockett in the Senate. Now, why does this matter? Well, one, Jasmine Crockett told us that the Republicans are scared of her, but it's looking like her own party doesn't have faith in her because she can't even beat her Democrat opponent in the primary leading up to the Senate seat election. She thought she was going to be facing Cornyn or Wesley Hunt, but she might not even make it out of the starting gate if she is not able to do something very quickly, because this election, or this decision is going to be made in March. She's going to have to do something very quickly to make up 10 percentage points in the next month and a half. Jasmine Crockett talked a good game. She talked big trash. That's what she's made a career on. Talking big trash about the Republicans, and they're scared of her and they don't want to go up against her. And, she's the perfect person for the job and she's going to go at Trump and yada, 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 yada. And who knew that her biggest challenge was going to be from her own party? Who knew that her party had such little faith in her that they would allow James Talarico to actually run against her in the primary? And this is what I've said for years. Black Democrats are nothing but the fall guys or fall girls of the DNC. Every single time the DNC gets behind an ignorant, illogical narrative or policy, the jobs that are lost, the seats that are lost are always the seats of black liberal Democrats. Every single time. We watched this happen with Cori Bush. We watched this happen with Nina Turner. We watched this happen with Jamal Bowman. We watched this happen with Fonnie Willis. We watched this happen with Kamala Harris. We watched this play out time and time again. And I say it with my chest, with confidence. Black Democrats are nothing but the fodder. The fodder that gets swept away like nothing. They're the chaff that gets swept away once the Democrats fail at getting the American people on board with one of their radical policies. And Jasmine Crockett, as if we didn't know, is going to be the next victim. No one is supporting her except one radicalized demographic. And that demographic is so radicalized, they're not even holding her accountable. I tried to hold Jasmine Crockett accountable and I was attacked. They told me, you hate black women, you this and that. And I said, bro, she's being too ghetto. She's not being, a good example of leadership. She's not being a good leader. She's not even representing African Americans or Americans, period, in a good way. And they told me, you hate black women, you just jealous, you just mad because she's educated. And I'm like, I'm not mad. I don't hate her or anything like that. I don't like the way she's representing my group, and I really don't like the way she's representing the American people. And I personally did not feel that Jasmine Crockett was doing anything at all for her constituents. It was like she was in Washington in service of the DNC. I never heard her talk about her district. I never heard her talk about the struggles of the people in her district. It was just like, let me get on CNN, let me get on MSNBC, not formerly in MSNBC, it's known as MS now, but let's get on here and bash Trump. And unfortunately, as much as people may hate or dislike Trump, they care more about the things that impact them on a day-to-day basis, the things that someone like their state representative has powers to change. And she wasn't focused on that. So now she's asking for the privilege of representing an even larger demographic of Texas. And I feel like those Texans are like, we ain't having it. Well, we're just not having it. You're not going to toss aside our concerns in an effort to appease the DNC so you can go attack Trump for the next several years. They're not going to do that. And Jasmine was completely tone deaf to that reality, or she knew about it or realized it and simply didn't care. Unfortunately, it's not looking like she's going to win this Senate seat. Things can change. Do I hope they change? I do. I want Jasmine Crockett to win the primary because I believe that she will be defeated very easily by any of the men who are running for the Senate seat of Texas. I'm rooting for Wesley Hunt. Cornyn's been there for years. He's done a lot, but he hasn't done anything significant recently. And I think it's time to put some new blood in that seat. But yeah, Jasmine, cursing at the president, acting ghetto, neck swinging, wig swinging. Yeah, it might work for a certain voter base, but when you start playing in the big leagues, trying to get to the Senate and go represent these large numbers of Americans, the theatrics, the political theater is just not enough. These people have real lives. We are in a very uncertain time in America, and nobody got time to play games with you, guy. Good luck, but not so much. So until the next time, let me know what you think in the comments. Take care of yourselves, but most importantly, take care of each other, and just don't ever vote for Jasmine Crockett. Peace.